All right, now that we've all had, 8 to 12 hours to digest and fully process what happened, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to episode 2 of season 2 of The Last of Us. Spoiler discussion, I guess we can call it. I don't really know. We're just going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about what happened, because damn. As someone that's played the game and knows what's coming, it still hits hard watching Abby just beat the shit out of Joel to death. I'm just going to be upfront and say it right here at the beginning. We're not going to beat around the bush with this episode. And I'm also going to stop comparing it to the game. Because I think these things are their own entity. I know it's an adaptation of the game, but I'm going to stop comparing it, and I'm just going to start talking about the show itself. Starting off, obviously Abby and her little crew are at the cabin where everything goes down and taking turns doing watch guard, and they are right outside of the town of Jackson, kind of planning their attack on Joel and the rest of Jackson, figuring out how to get to Joel. And basically, Abby decides to go out and take guard, and that's when things really start rolling. And as soon as she went out there, and then I saw Joel and Tommy going by on horseback, I was just like, shit, this is going to happen this episode. Because I didn't know if they were going to stretch it out and do it in maybe episode 3, but I knew it was coming early, because it has to. I don't know how they're going to do 2 seasons of this, to be honest with you. I mean, the game really drags out things, and here I go already. But it's the only source material I have to go off of with length. And so I'm curious to see how they're going to do that. But overall, this episode was epic. With the infected coming up out of the snow, everything that's transpired with them finding the roots and the vines and everything in the piping is just foreshadowing what's coming, and especially the storm itself, which I thought it was really cool. They actually went out into Jackson or Wyoming, or parts of Canada, actually. I was all over the place right there. But they were actually in a blizzard when I went back and watched like the behind the scenes and stuff like that. So those are not visual effects. They're literally filming in a blizzard, which is pretty badass, and I think the right way to do it. And that's one of the things I'll credit with this show, is the fact that they try to do everything practical first. Like, that's their primary go-to in terms of creating effects and visual effects for the show. The CGI and stuff like that is used to kind of mix in with those practical effects. And I think they do a good job of kind of managing what's practical and what's CGI. Outside of that, I thought the actual scene where Jackson's getting invaded and Tommy's kind of like holding down the fort, telling everyone what to do, not to panic if you start hearing the bells ring and, the sirens going off, stick to the plan, watch after your fellow neighbor, and let's hold this shit down and protect the fort. I thought that scene was absolutely incredible, and the mixing paths with Abby, her journey tracking Joel and Tommy at the same time, falling down the side of the mountain, stumbling across the frozen infected, I thought was pretty interesting, and they chase her. A mob starts chasing her through the snow. She gets trapped behind a fence trying to get away from them, crawling away, and then eventually saved by Joel, which is pretty accurate to the game. Here's what I have to say about this whole sequence and this whole episode as a whole. When I played Part 2 originally, I did not like the game. As a person that loves Part 1 and that story, it ripped my fucking heart out. excuse my language, and I was one of the people that had it spoiled for me before the game released too. There were some leaks that went out by there were people on the creative team with Naughty Dog that, basically put out there that Joel is killed in the second game. And I wasn't searching for it. I wasn't looking for it. It was just, I saw it on a thumbnail, and I was just like, fuck. Because I had gone like months avoiding spoilers and everything. This was in 2020 too, during the pandemic. So everything, we had a lot of time on our hands. There was a lot of time to see stuff on the internet. But basically, I had a big problem with it for a long time, and it was hard to finish the game. But now that I've had more time to digest the actual game and the show and everything, I think I've grown more to appreciate the storytelling and the writing of Part 2. I mean, I don't have to like it, but when you really break it down, everything that Joel did in the first game or in the first season, there has to be consequences for that. I think it would be kind of lame if they put out a Part 2 and it was just the same game or the show as the first part. We've seen that 100, 200 times, throughout other mediums and other projects. So they took a creative risk. They know it's going to piss a lot of people off. But the thing is, it's one of the most polarizing pieces of media out there, and it's still being talked to going on 5 years later. So at the end of the day, they accomplished what they wanted to. And I think having those discussions out there from people like me and other YouTubers and other critics, I think is a good thing for your project. A negative comment or a good comment on my channel both equal the same, thing. It's both good for my channel. It's recognition, it's exposure, it's activity. And that's what The Last of Us creates. That's what Neil Druckmann creates. And that's what Naughty Dog and HBO have created with this show. So I just wanted to get that out there. I think I might not like what I'm witnessing, but it's brilliant storytelling. And I love how they set up Joel saving Abby as basically the prerequisite of what's to come to Joel. It's full circle. It's full circle. Joel kills her dad. He saves Abby. And then she kills Joel. And, we'll just have to see and wait what happens next for those that have not seen or played, I should say, Part 2. I'm not going to give anything away that's to come. And I think the adaptation of this show will be slightly different anyway. Say what you want, the way they set it up, the way they put the pieces together and intertwine and weave all these different things with this story is absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. And I'm having a blast watching the show. You can have an issue with this or that, but at the end of the day, this is a movie quality TV show. You don't find TV shows like this anymore. You really don't. And this is based off a video game, which is even more impressive because over the years, people have just struggled to make adaptations from video games. They really have. Resident Evil. Can we get a Resident Evil movie that's like Resident Evil? Like, is it that difficult to do? Follow this script. Like, you can change things, but you can still be faithful to the original material and create something brilliant. Now, all that being said, everything is coming to a corner, a dead end at this cabin. Joel comes in, and you can automatically feel the vibe in the room, like something is off. Joel's just like, yeah, something's going on here. These people know who I am, and there's an issue. And you can see the wheels just turning. And then Abby starts to slowly go into it. And it starts to unfold, and it's pretty faithful to the game, how it all played out. It's slow, it's methodical, it's dark, it's ruthless. And I love the line, too, because I was just waiting for Joel to snap back a little bit, like, all right, get your damn speech out of the way and just do this shit. And she's going over to grab the golf club. And she's like, I have been thinking. And he's just like, oh, just fucking do it. Why, God's sakes, just do it. And I love that because that's Joel 100%. And even in his last words, he's Joel. And you have to appreciate that. She goes to town on him, shoots him in the kneecap, starts hitting his knees with the golf club. And she's like, you stupid old man, you don't get to rush this, which is exactly what she said in the game. And honestly thought it was great. The acting, the set pieces for the cabin itself, when Jackson burning in the background and everything, it was just beautifully done. I have no issues with it. I really enjoyed the episode outside of being traumatized by Joel being murdered in front of me. I hated witness that. I knew it was coming, but we've gotten it out of the way now, and now we can just enjoy the rest of the show. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. I just wanted to jump on here and do a quick spoiler discussion of episode 2. I'm excited to see what they do next. I think HBO is absolutely crushing it with this series, and Neil Druckmann deserves a lot of credit. Real recognize real, and the guy is talented. I don't care what anyone says. And if you listen to interviews with him and sit-downs, you can really get a better appreciation. Watch the interview with Logic, the rapper. Watch that whole interview and tell me Neil Druckmann's a bad person. If you can watch that whole interview and have that same perspective, then I just think you're blinded by something, by hate, jealousy. I don't really know. I don't know what it really is. And I think this game has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of people have an issue with how this game played out, and I did at first. But at the end of the day, I think the way he's telling this story is told the best possible way. As hard as that might be for some people to hear. And I'm one of them. Trust me. I'm a big fan too. I love Joel. So comment down below what you guys thought of episode 2. How was it executed? Did you like how it was done? Did you think the show did it justice? Are you still pissed off? I just want to hear what your thoughts are. And stick around because we're going to be covering the rest of the series. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Stay blessed, my friends.